They said I was a monster, a thief, a criminal who deserved to rot in prison. The whole world watched me fall from grace, but he saw something different. A white billionaire with everything to lose decided I was worth fighting for. This is the story of how love proved them all wrong. My name doesn't matter anymore. What matters is what they called me: convict, liar, fraud, thief. For 3 years, that's all I was to the world. But before I became those things, I was just a woman trying to make it. I had a career I loved, working in public relations for a tech company in Seattle. I had an apartment with a view of the water. I had dreams. I was building something real. And then one morning, everything changed. Federal agents showed up at my office. They said I'd stolen $2.3 million dollars from my company. They had evidence: bank statements, forged signatures, offshore accounts, all with my name attached. I kept saying it wasn't me, that I didn't do it, but nobody listened. The media ran with the story before I even understood what was happening. Headlines called me greedy. Tabloids used the worst pictures of me they could find. Social media tore me apart. Black woman steals millions. That's all people needed to hear. If you've ever felt judged, misunderstood, or thrown away by society, this story is for you. Stay until the end because I'm going to show you that your past doesn't define your future. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss how this unfolds. Now, let me take you back to where it all began. I couldn't afford the lawyers I needed. My public defender was overwhelmed, handling too many cases, and my trial lasted only 3 weeks. 3 weeks to destroy a life I spent 30 years building. The prosecutor painted me as calculated and cold. The jury looked at me like I was everything wrong with the world. And when that judge sentenced me to 7 years in federal prison, I felt my soul leave my body. My family stopped taking my calls. My mother told me I'd embarrassed her. My sister changed her number. Friends I'd known since college acted like I never existed. I went from having a life to having nothing but a number. Inmate number 84736 2. That's who I became. Those first months in prison nearly killed me. I'm not talking about physical death, though I thought about it. I'm talking about the death of hope. Every morning I woke up in that cell, I asked myself why I was still breathing. I stopped looking in mirrors because I didn't recognize the woman staring back. I stopped talking because what was there to say? I stopped dreaming because dreams are for people with futures, and mine was gone. I was drowning in a system that didn't care if I was innocent. I was just another face, another body taking up space. Depression swallowed me whole. There were days I couldn't get out of bed, days where I didn't eat, days where I truly believed I deserved to be there even though I knew I didn't steal that money. The lies had become my truth. Then something unexpected happened. The prison announced a new program. Some billionaire was launching an education and job training initiative for inmates. Most of the women rolled their eyes. We'd seen these programs before: rich people coming in to feel good about themselves, taking photos for their websites, then disappearing. I didn't want any part of it, but my cellmate convinced me to sign up. She said, "Girl, what else you gotta do? Sit here and waste away?" She was right. I had nothing to lose. The first day of class, he walked in. Tall, confident, expensive suit. Everything about him screamed money and privilege. Everything about him reminded me of the world that threw me away. I sat in the back, arms crossed, ready to hate every word he said. He introduced himself simply, first name only. Said he built his company from nothing and wanted to give others the same opportunities he had. I almost laughed. Men like him don't know what nothing looks like. He started teaching business strategy, talking about problem solving and innovation. And then he did something different. He asked us questions, real questions, not the condescending kind, but the type that made you think. When he got to me, I challenged him. I was angry and defensive, and I wanted him to know that his presence there didn't impress me. He didn't back down. He looked me straight in the eye and said, "You're wasting your mind in here fighting the wrong battles." Something about the way he said it caught me off guard. Not pity, not judgment, just truth. He came back every week, 6 months of classes. He brought real business problems for us to solve, problems from his actual company. Most women were scared to speak up, but I stopped caring about being scared a long time ago. I gave him solutions, challenged his assumptions, pushed back when his ideas didn't make sense. And he listened. Really listened. After class one day, he asked if he could talk to me privately. My stomach dropped. I thought I'd crossed a line, been too aggressive. But instead, he said, "You have one of the sharpest minds I've encountered. What are you doing here?" I told him my story. Not because I thought he'd believe me, but because I was tired of holding it in. I expected him to nod politely and walk away. But he didn't. He asked questions. Details about my case, about the evidence, about my trial. His eyes never left mine. Over the next few months, something shifted between us. Our conversations went beyond business. We talked about life, about pain, about what it means to keep going when everything falls apart. He shared things too, about the pressure of expectations, about loneliness, about how money doesn't fix the emptiness inside. I saw past the billion-dollar net worth. He saw past the prison uniform. I tried to push him away. I told him to stop wasting his time on me, that I was nobody, that his interest in my case would only bring him trouble, but he wouldn't leave. He said, "You're not nobody to me. You never were." That's when I realized what was happening. This man was falling in love with me, and God help me, I was falling too. It was the most terrifying feeling in the world. How do you love someone when you're locked in a cage? How do you believe in a future when you have none? How do you let yourself feel hope when hope has betrayed you over and over? He hired investigators. He didn't tell me at first because he didn't want to give me false hope. But his team started digging into my case, and they found what my public defender never bothered to look for. The real thief was the CFO, a man who'd worked at the company for 15 years. He'd been embezzling money for 3 years, and when the company started investigating, he set me up. Forged my signatures, created fake accounts in my name, and he had connections to the prosecutor who tried my case. Evidence that could have cleared me was suppressed. When he told me what they'd found, I broke down. 3 years of my life gone because someone decided I was expendable. 3 years because a black woman was an easy target. 3 years because the system worked exactly as it was designed to. He hired the best legal team in the country and filed for an appeal. That's when the media found out about us. The headlines were vicious. Billionaire falls for convict. What's wrong with him? The racist undertones weren't even subtle. People questioned his sanity, his judgment, his morals. How could a successful white man love a black woman in prison? They made me out to be a manipulator, a seductress, a con artist playing games. His company's stock dropped. The board of directors called emergency meetings and demanded he step away from me. Business partners threatened to pull funding. His ex-girlfriend went on television saying I'd brainwashed him, that he was throwing his life away for a criminal. The woman didn't know me, but that didn't matter. The story was too good to fact-check. We both received death threats. People told him he was betraying his race. They told me I was using him for his money and his power. They said we'd both burn in hell. The pressure was crushing. His family gave him an ultimatum. Choose them or choose me. Some of his oldest friends stopped speaking to him. He lost partnerships worth millions. He watched his reputation crumble in real time, but he never left, not once. Every week, he showed up to that prison. Every phone call, every letter, every moment he could give me, he did. When I told him to walk away to save himself, he said, "If I walk away from you, I walk away from the man I want to be." The new trial was brutal. The prosecution fought hard to keep the new evidence out. They didn't want to admit they'd put an innocent woman in prison. But the truth has a way of coming out when people refuse to stay silent. My legal team exposed everything: the real thief, the corruption, the deliberate framing. Watching that CFO squirm on the witness stand was the first time in years I felt something close to justice. When the judge overturned my conviction, I couldn't breathe. 3 years, 2 months, and 17 days after they locked me up, I walked out of that prison a free woman. He was waiting outside the gates. No cameras, no press, just him. I fell into his arms and cried until I had nothing left. He held me like I was the most precious thing in the world. Maybe I was, maybe I am. Freedom didn't feel the way I thought it would. I had nightmares every night. Loud noises made me panic. I couldn't be in small spaces. Prison leaves marks you can't see. and healing from that kind of trauma doesn't happen overnight. He was patient with me. He never pushed, never demanded I be okay when I wasn't. He just stayed. The state gave me a settlement for wrongful conviction. It didn't give me back the years they stole, but it gave me resources. I started a foundation for people who've been wrongfully convicted. I use my voice now to help others fight the same battles I fought. Every person I help get free is a piece of my soul coming back to life. People still judge us. They see a black woman and a white billionaire and make assumptions, but we don't live for them. We live for each other. He loved me when the world said I was unlovable. I taught him what real strength looks like. Together, we're building something that nobody can destroy, a love that survived the worst and came out stronger. I'm not going to stand here and tell you this story has a perfect ending, because life doesn't work that way. Some days are still hard. Some nights I still wake up thinking, I'm back in that cell, but I'm here, I'm free, I'm loved, and I'm fighting for every person who's been thrown away by a system that doesn't see them as human. If this story touched your heart, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs to hear that their past doesn't define them. Drop a comment below and tell me, have you ever been misjudged? How did you overcome it? I read every single comment. And listen, subscribe to this channel because I share real stories about real people who refuse to let the world break them. Hit that like button if you believe everyone deserves a second chance. Remember, you are not what they say you are. You are who you choose to become. Until next time, keep fighting for your truth.